Only 3 ingredients, and your edges will be growing back like crazy. My name is Angelica. I post videos twice a week, every single week, all about growing long, healthy, natural hair and a little bit of fun stuff here and there. So if that seems interesting, consider subscribing. The subscription button is right down there, as well as the bell icon. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Let's get into it. Okay, so we are starting with a nice little glass bottle dropper. This is actually an old skincare bottle. I always reuse anything with a dropper. We are starting with some castor oil, which is going to be the most. We are only using 1 carrier oil, and I'm using 1/8 of a cup. You can even use up to half of this. And don't be silly like me and use a little funnel instead of just pouring it. But if this is all you have, you can find a way to finesse it so you don't spill like I did. So all you need is that, and it will fill your standard size bottle dropper. Now we're using some rosemary oil, and this is from the brand Majestic Pure. I invested in a huge bottle because this is absolutely my favorite essential oil. You don't have to use the one from this specific brand. You just have to use pure 100% rosemary oil, not mixed in with anything. It is amazing and it is one of the key ingredients, but please, just because it's a lot, do not be confused and use this directly on your scalp. You will have bad side effects and you most likely will not see them immediately. They might come even months later. So please don't be tempted just because it doesn't burn. So I put about 15 drops of the rosemary oil in there. If I was using a much lighter oil, I would have used about 7 to 10 drops, but castor oil is very thick, so it kind of like it's not as saturated as if you use something like an olive oil, for me at least. So now peppermint oil by Handcraft, I added another 15 drops of that as well. So the 3 ingredients are simple: castor oil, rosemary oil, and peppermint oil. Now remember that the most essential oils here are the rosemary oil and the peppermint oil. The castor oil is also amazing for the hairline because it is a very thickening oil and it is usually very affordable. You can also use Jamaican black castor oil if you prefer. I find that Jamaican black castor oil and regular castor oil actually work the same for me, but Jamaican black castor oil is way more expensive. So I just buy this one because it works better. Use whichever one works better. And if you don't have that, you can use any other carrier oil like olive oil, grapeseed oil, but my preference is castor oil specifically for the edges. Now, here you want to just apply a few drops. You really do not need that much as you saw me apply. I just put a couple drops, and then for the other side, I'm just showing you that this is actually great prep for if you're going to lay your edges, which you should rarely do if you're trying to grow your edges anyway. But if you have to and you just need a little bit to kind of like soften your edges and make sure you reduce the amount of manipulation while still making your hair grow and treat it well with the essential oils and the castor oil, you can use this little eyelash. It's actually a brow gel. So it is the exact same oil mix in there, but you can use that little brush to put it on your edges to make sure that you don't put too much if you don't want too much oil going on your scalp. And this is the same mixture I used to grow my eyebrows, and I used it after I lost a couple brows after I had, I guess, stress and maybe COVID. I'm not sure, but I had like 2 holes in my brows and this really helped it grow back. So now once everything is perfectly on your scalp, whichever way you want to apply it, again, rarely use the one with the brush because it is manipulation. Using your fingers is just better. Then I go ahead and do a scalp massage as I always do when I apply any oil to any part of my scalp. And you can see I'm not using my nails. I'm only using the pads of my fingers. Now here's a question I get asked a lot whenever I make these DIY oils. How long can it last before it goes bad? Well, amazing information for this one. It'll basically last until you finish it, okay? It does not go bad because those oils all have like natural preservatives. They will not go bad unless you keep it in like a very moist and hot area. Possibly it could go rancid even if you just leave any of the oils that we mixed in. Otherwise, it should last you like even a year. So that is it. Perfectly worked in, full thick edges. Okay, so now that you've seen how we make the oil and how to apply the oil, let's get into a few questions that you might have. The first one is, how often should you apply this oil? I would actually recommend you apply it every single day if you have thicker or coarser hair. Even if your hairline is thinning, if all your hair is naturally on the thicker, coarser side like mine, you can get away with using this every single day. You only need the tiniest bit like I put in the video. If your hair tends to be on the finer side or very high porosity, where when you put oil, especially thick oils like this one, it makes your hair feel like soft and mushy, try every other day or every 2 days. You do not need to wash your hair after you apply this. As soon as you put it on, it will be little enough that it doesn't make the rest of your hair oily or make your hair too soft or mushy or damage your hair. You just need the tiniest bit for it to be the most effective. Another common question I get under lots of videos like this one is, how long is it going to take for me to see significant results? Now, this of course depends on what the severity of your damage is. Now, usually the shorter your hair is, the faster you see results, simply because if there's almost no hair there and then you see a little hair, you see the difference. It's just like shaving your hair bald. Probably in like a week or a couple days, you notice that your hair is growing back really fast. But if your hair is already grown out, you might not see the change as fast because it is so tiny that you can't really see it unless there was really no hair before. So for you to see a significant change where you look at yourself and think, that looks slightly better than it looked before, I would say, because this is such a potent oil, anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks is when you're going to start to see a significant change. But for complete restoration, like for your hair to go back to how it was before, for your hairline to be full, I would say it would take anywhere from 3 months to 1 year, depending on the severity of your damage again. Now, you might be thinking, 3 months to 1 year? That is such a long time. I don't have time to wait for that. Well, here's the thing. Whether you do this for 3 months to a year or not, 3 months to a year are going to pass. Time is not going to stop for you, okay? The time is still going to pass whether you do it or not, so you might as well do something about it. So now a little disclaimer. This is a very highly effective oil mix, and if you don't want to use the specific one, you actually can buy products because they do sell similar ones on the market. I just prefer to make DIYs because I'm in charge of how much of each oil I put, and it is way cheaper because you can buy like a lot more for the same price, if you get what I mean. And so that's what I prefer. But there are products on the market that have similar benefits, like Mayal Organics. But despite this being highly effective, whether you use mine or another one, you have to understand the severity of your damage. If your damage is caused by postpartum shedding just due to any other sickness, including stress, traction alopecia, but not severe, like, traction alopecia where your hair grows back, then you rip it out again, then it grows back again, then you pull it out again by doing those tiny micro braids and all that kind of stuff. If it's any of those where it seems reversible, like you can see the hair is trying to go back, but it's just struggling, this will absolutely help you. But if you have severe damage on your hairline to the point where you have scarring, complete smooth bald patches on your hairline, your only option might be first PRP, which is where they will spin your blood and do like more intensive than microdermabrasion. It's kind of like tiny injections all over your scalp using a separation of liquid from your own blood. And this can actually help regrow your hairline, but this is expensive. It can go up to $5,000. But a more effective one, if your treatment is severe, this nor any other treatment will work for you. If you have severe scarring on your hairline and your hair is completely gone, like it is all gone, and there's barely anything, or you just have like gaps where it's like a big patch of no hair here, then you have a little bit of hair here. If you have reached that severe stage, unfortunately, this oil most likely is not going to help you. You need to go for something that is extremely invasive, like a hair transplant. While it is extremely expensive, it can go up to $20,000 depending on who you go to. It is also the most effective and can guarantee you almost 100% results if you go that route. So I don't want to deceive you and make you think that if you have severe scarring, this is like a magical treatment that's just going to make it happen overnight. It will not. So before you use this or before you think about using, assess the level of damage that you have to avoid disappointment and to get yourself the best results. Now, speaking of getting the best results, to get the best restoration of your hairline, you need to use this oil as well as avoiding other things like whatever was causing the hair loss in the first place and all those things. So if you're interested in that, I do have a new video on how to grow your edges back right here, which includes other tips and tricks aside from this oil and older videos that I have made with tips that still apply now. So you can check out the playlist right there, and you can check out some other oils that I've made right here. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.